This is Mr. Hanna. Welcome to What the Format. Today we're going to go over adding fractions. So let's just throw some crazy fraction out here. 3 over 7 plus, say, 5 over 9. Now, a lot of students, when they add these, they just add 3 plus 5. They just add 7 plus 9. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. That's not how we do it. Okay? When you're adding fractions, I want you to think of combining like terms. It's a very common thing in algebra. Now, normally, when we think of like terms, we think of terms that have the same variable in it, and those variables have to have the same exponent to be the same. So, for instance, 3x and 4y. Well, they're not common. They're not like terms because x and y are not the same variable. 3x squared, 4x. Again, not like terms because you have x squared has the 2 for the exponent, x has 1 for the exponent, not like terms. Fractions, we don't necessarily think of in terms of like terms, but that's what we're also doing. We're combining like terms. So would you add 3 apples to 4 oranges and say 7? No. Okay, would you add 3 dimes to 4 quarters and say 7? No. Well, that's what we're looking at here. These are sevenths, and these are ninths. Those are not the same term, not the same base. They're not like. We can't just add them. To add fractions, your denominator down here needs to be the same. Okay, so what we do is we look for numbers that 7 and 9 have in common. Now there's 2 ways to do it. If you multiply these, you will always come up with a number that they have in common. The problem is sometimes that's not what's called the lowest common denominator, which means when you've done your math, you might have to cancel out a common factor and simplify. Okay, if you find the lowest common denominator, you will never have to worry about that. Now, which way is better? Unfortunately, sometimes they ask for the lowest common denominator, so you don't have a choice. But if you don't mind the simplification process at the end, sometimes when the numbers are not as familiar, just multiplying these and finding the common denominator that way is easier. Now, what's the process if you want to make sure you find the common denominator? Well, you always take the bigger number, so 9, and you start counting by that 9. And you don't stop until you reach a number that 7 will now go into. Okay? And you notice that the first number that goes into 7 is 63. Well, how are you so sure about that, Mr. Hanna? Well, let's count by sevens. You'll notice that none of these numbers are matching up. 27 and 28 are close, but that doesn't cover it. Yes, 35 and 36 are close. You'll notice that it's just off until it gets to 63. That's the first number that they have in common. All I did was multiples of 9 and multiples of 7. Okay? This is where having your math facts memorized is so important. I just did 1 times 9, 2 times 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, until I got to 7 times 9. 1 times 7, 2 times 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 7. Now in this case, because of the nature of the numbers, the common denominator was their product. That won't always be the case. Sometimes they have another number in common. For instance, if I made that 6, okay, well 6 goes into 18. So 18 would have been the lowest common denominator, not 6 times 9, 54. So you have to be careful. Now, a word here, what the format is all about teaching you how to attack any type of problem. If you memorize a specific situation, that doesn't help you too much because what changes in math? The numbers. The numbers, these denominators change all the time. So memorizing one common denominator or trying to memorize one thing doesn't work because when the numbers change, your approach to the problem has to change. Well, guess what? Life is that way too. You can't handle every situation the exact same. You have to be, my mom used to tell me, be flexible. You have to be able to adjust. Dynamic is what they call it in engineering terms. Static, no change. Dynamic, you're changing all the time. Well, math is dynamic. The numbers are changing all the time. You need to be able to see this process and then duplicate it. Now, once you understand the process, practice is what's next. So you saw how I did this one. So now you do a bunch of examples, try it, and then if you're still having trouble, you come back and watch the video and you keep going until it clicks. Once it clicks, then adding fractions will never be a problem again, and most math problems won't be so scary. So to get 7 to 63, we had to multiply that by 9. We had to multiply this by 7. Now that's great, but what you do to the denominator, you also have to do to the numerator. So we're going to times that by 9. We're going to times that by 7. And when we do that, that is going to become 27 over 63 plus 35 over 63. Now, when the denominators are the same, these are now like terms. Careful, do not touch the denominator, okay? When we add those, the denominator is not going to change. So if you, as a habit, want to just write it down there to help you, I would do that. Now, so where's your math? Well, it's all with the numerators, 27 plus 35. Well, Mr. Hannah, I'm having trouble seeing that. Well, guess what you do? Don't be afraid to write out the problem. Just come underneath it, write your 27 plus 35, turn it into a first grade addition problem. Using our math facts, 7 plus 5 is 12, carry the 1. 1 plus 2, 3, plus 3 is 6. There you go, 62 out of 63. We have successfully added those fractions. We had the lowest common denominator. We don't have to worry about simplifying here. Okay, it's already simplified. Now another thing, what happens if the numerator is bigger than the denominator? In lower grades, they have you write mixed numbers. A word of caution on that too. Algebra, normally, I would say about 9 times out of 10, a mixed number is not the way to go. You want to leave it as either a proper fraction or an improper fraction. It doesn't matter whether the numerator is bigger than the denominator. You want to leave it in fraction form. Why is that, Mr. Hannah? Well, if you're going to use this in a math problem, you don't use mixed numbers, because usually the first thing you do with mixed numbers is turn them back into an improper fraction. So why put them into a format that you're just going to have to turn back? It's a waste of time. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times when a mixed number is very helpful. Maybe in graphing, you can't see to 9/2. Maybe you need to write it as 4.5 to help you see it graph it better. Okay, certainly some applications like cooking, baking, okay, 7/3 teaspoons doesn't make sense. You have to turn that to 2 1/3 teaspoon. So mixed numbers do have their purpose, but 90% of your math with fractions, you're going to leave it as a improper or proper fraction. So here's all the steps to adding fractions. I did one with 7 and 9 as a denominator. Change it up. Like I said, make that 6. Make that maybe 5/6 and see what happens. And then, or maybe make that 5/4 and see what happens. And just play with it. Okay? And that's the thing, is my videos give you a jumping off spot, but to really get good at math, you have to practice lots of problems until you figure out how you best go through those. Okay? You can start with what I show you, but you tweak it so it works with your brain, because everybody thinks differently. And that's exactly what I did. I took what my teachers taught me and I adjusted it for me, and now math isn't a problem for me because I know what to do on almost every problem. And even the problems I'm not sure what to do at the beginning, I can start my way thinking through them, doing some basic things I've tried, and usually I can figure it out. Okay? 95% of the time or more, I can figure it out, and that's a good success rate with math problems. Obviously, we'd like to be 100%, but as I'm sure you've noticed in your life, that's really difficult to do, is be 100% in everything. I certainly haven't succeeded in that. So anyway, I hope this helped with adding fractions. Thank you for watching What the Format. This is Mr. Hannah. Happy mathing.